Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help answer the question, what other celebrities are going to be selling their bathwater? I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Join me today, John Blight.
I just pieced together some things where 10 seconds ago, before you clicked record, you said, yep, that works. And I can only assume it was thinking of that opening.
No, it was put in the order of the
Right,
trailers.
okay.
But yeah, if you don't know, Sydney Sweeney's selling soap with the bathwater in it.
And people are
That's
buying
the world
it.
we live in.
People are buying it.
Crazy.
Just a pity my credit cards makes it.
I know. Can you clone people from bathwater?
One way to find out.
One way to find out. It's interesting because I read an article. There was apparently a movie back in 2012 by, is it Brandon Cronenberg, the son?
Yeah.
Called Antiviral or something like that.
Yeah.
Where people are buying diseases after celebrities have got them. So someone gets a cold and they send you the germs from that celebrity.
Oh, okay.
So you can get the sickness, same sickness as yours.
It must be his first movie, the one I watched it.
Could be. I think it was The Son.
Yeah, that's his first. Yeah, that's his first movie. The one of Antiviral, yeah. So he did that, then he did Possessor in it, and then Infinity Pool. But yeah,
There you go.
I went looking for it once. I couldn't find it anywhere. But it is that thing. As a side note, just sometimes how streaming stuff works that annoys me sometimes. You look up a movie and be in the mood to watch it then as you're thinking, oh, I want to watch that, and you go look on the streaming, you look on Just Watch or whatever, and it doesn't exist anywhere. And you're like, oh damn, hopefully I remember to check that. But then time passes and you forget that it's to check, but it could get added to a service. You don't anyway. So
Trakt needs to add notifications when things come on services on your watch list.
I wouldn't be against it. It's still not streaming anyway, so we're all good.
There you go. All right, on today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, going over some film news, giving some thumbs to trailers, and giving you this week's top 3. Kicking things off, I was fortunate enough to go to a advanced screening of Karate Kid's Legends, the latest entry in the Karate Kid franchise, the film that's going to branch the two trees of the original Karate Kid trilogy, or 4 films, I guess, and then the 2010 film with Jackie Chan. Obviously, if you've been following along on this podcast, we've been doing a series called The Road to the Karate Kid Legends, where we've revisited all the Karate Kid related content out there, which has been a lot of fun. So yeah, obviously, this is, I don't know, it's this weird mix of trying to be a new entry in the series, but also trying to tie back to the previous films, which had already been done reasonably well by Cobra Kai. So yeah, the film opens in Beijing, post the events of the 2010 the Jackie Chan film, and he has now opened his own dojo, I guess.
Of all the students he gets at the end of the movie.
Yeah, sure. But yes, one of his students is his nephew, Li Fong, played by Ben Wang, who his mother, played by Li Na Wen, is moving them to New York City. She's got a job at a hospital in New York, so they're moving from Beijing to, New York. Classic Karate Kid opening. They've had, Dan LaRusso go to LA from New Jersey. That's it. And then they had Jaden Smith go from Detroit to Beijing. Now it's Beijing to New York. He quickly befriends a girl from school who also works at a pizza shop near his unit. They become very close friends. Her ex is training at the Demolition Karate Dojo, and is the top fighter in the region. He always wins the 5 boroughs karate competition every year, which is a karate competition that is fought all over the city. So all the different rounds are fought in different locations that will culminate in them fighting on top of a skyscraper. Because, sure, why not? Couldn't book a stadium. It's got to be rebellish. Interestingly, like half of the movie is about Li Fong helping Mia the girl's dad, who runs Pizza Shop. He used to be a boxer, but stopped boxing when Mia was born to take up a job as working in a pizza place. But he's come under a lot of debt and so he's agreed to do a couple of fights. So he's asked for Lee's help to train him to become more agile and better fighter with the help of Kung Fu to help his boxing. Because as Mr. Han told us in the 2010 film, everything is Kung Fu.
I don't know if I missed this, but how does Jackie Chan end up in America?
He's his uncle. He comes to visit.
Oh, he comes to visit. I was just confused why he. Yeah.
He comes to visit.
Okay.
But yeah, of course, things go pear-shaped, and Lee ends up competing in the 5 boroughs to make money. I guess is like a very non-spoilery way to describe it. There's also his mother is very disapprove of him getting into martial arts in any way since they moved to York because his brother died post a karate competition. So she's very against him fighting at all. Kind of martial arts have kind of been this thing that helps him. It's a coping device that he's had post his brother's death that he's kind of conflicted about because of her confliction. So I thought it was really fun. I think obviously there's been I've seen a lot of it came out in the US at the same time, so I've seen a lot of reviews and that kind of stuff, and I feel like maybe the baggage of being part of this franchise is kind of working against it. Like a lot of people are disappointed that Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are in it more than they are. Like they make it sound like they're in the movie for like 7 minutes, but it's at least the final third of the movie is predominantly focused on them helping Lee train.
I mean, I've been
spoilers, I guess, if you didn't watch the trailers.
I've been saying a whole lot wrong that I'd fully expected. Daniel to be very minimal in the final product. So
yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Lee is a fully capable martial artist at the start of the film. So we're not building up from scratch. So there's a couple of things. The training sequence leading up to the 5 boroughs, very rushed. I think they probably could have used a little bit more time. But there might just be Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio's schedules. We don't know. The antagonist is just kind of the Connor, who's the ex-boyfriend. He's kind of a nothing character. Not much backstory other than he is the best and fights people and got anger issues. And his dad's a loan shark, I guess, is the nicest way to put it. But yeah, I had a good time. I think it's got the best fighting probably in the series. Like Benoit, the lead, like can actually fight, and like you see lengthy choreographed sequences. Not the Hilary Swank puts a leg up and then cut to her putting a leg down. So of some of the other films. So I feel like some of the action is really cool. They do some nice art stuff, like interstitials and that kind of things. And it's fun when Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan show up, and Jackie Chan's like, doing his thing, being him, like even more so than he was in The Karate Kid, because he isn't a depressed sad man like he was in that. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it with you when you finally watch it this week. We can do a full spoiler cast. My other thing would be I don't think they differentiated enough between why Kung Fu is different to karate, especially when you bring in Daniel specifically to teach Lee the karate, which is meant to be different than Kung Fu. But yeah, Benoit, I found it very charismatic and found the teen romance elements of it very enjoyable. The setting's really cool. yeah, there's a lot of fun elements, and I think it's getting a bit of a bad rap. But I guess Dylan will see it and then tell me different in a few days. Is often the case.
How dare you?
Listen, you broke my heart with it on Stitch last week, and I haven't recovered. All right. Over on our Doctor Who podcast, Fishing the Custard, we've been following the latest season of Doctor Who. The finale dropped this last Sunday, which is weird because the other episodes have been coming out Saturday.
Yes,
this one dropped on Sunday.
It was so they had it in cinemas in the UK, so the release date was changed for the
Interesting. Yes, things happened in that episode. Do you want to give your non-spoilery thoughts on? Imagine being in the cinema when that finale happened.
Yeah, I've seen articles. I've seen articles of like the most British reactions of. I think I saw one where someone wrote that they just had the person in front of them go, "Bloody hell!" Just
yeah.
Okay. It was an interesting finale. Wraps up the last 2 seasons' story somewhat. Sets up an interesting direction for Doctor Who to head into, although one that I'm a little bit confused by. It's really hard to talk about spoilers, but I mean, overall, the season was decent. Had some good episodes. It's sort of hard to very spoiler.
But I think we can say what's in the news. What's in the news is Ncuti has finished up his run as the Doctor. Which was surprising.
It was surprising, yeah. 2 seasons, 18 episodes.
And a former member of the cast is playing, or was regenerated into, and we don't know any more than that.
Yeah.
Which is wild, and, I suspect everything we'll be talking about. I enjoyed the episode. I feel like it was a little bit rushed with the conclusion of what had been the obstacles that have been set up the previous episode. And then just the very timey-wimey, like, crazy situation. There was some very fun cameo. It definitely, in hindsight, was a very finale-esque episode. Like, final end of a character's run. Just the lovey-doveyness of him. But, that was kind of his thing that separated him from all the other Doctors, I guess. But yeah, I thought good times. I wouldn't say exciting, but like there are a lot of questions about the future.
Certainly are
based on this episode. Yeah. So, and I do think it did a good job of like tying in a bunch of characters and like bringing people back during this run of the show. So, all right. I checked out the first 3-4 episodes of the new series Adults, which is currently streaming on Apple TV. No, Disney Plus. I think it's an FX show in the States. Yeah. So it's about 4 friends who all live in a share house together. Well, I guess it's one of the characters' parents' house while they're away on like a worldwide cruise. And the kind of shenanigans and crazy things that, happen because they're young and they don't really know what they're doing. It's a show completely based on the chemistry of these characters and the weird situations they kind of get themselves into. And I'm really enjoying it. I think it's got a stellar cast of young actors. So you've got Samir, who's owns the house, and like I think in the first episode somebody that they know has come out claiming that their boss has sexually assaulted them. A male friend. So he's become like locally famous as a big victim. Samir's like, one of the friends I think says, guys, don't even realize they're doing this kind of thing. He's like, he goes back to all his previous relationships. He's like, oh, have I done anything like bad that I haven't realized I've been doing? And like he's getting into his own head and like that kind of thing. One of the other you've got Issa, who's in a relationship with a guy called Paul Baker. She's like, out there. Like the opening scene of this series is them, I don't know, commuting home on the train, and a random dude, I guess it's like starts masturbating on the train through his pants, and she's like, "No, I'm not having that." So her retaliation is she's going to start masturbating in her pants, as if that's going to stop him, you know. Also, there's Billy, who's like the most, I guess, the book smart of the group, and like had like a proper working job at like a news place. But she kind of threatened her in the first episode. She threatens her boss with the fact that, you know, she is a young person and maybe he did something wrong around her. But she does it too late in the window in which she could possibly have gotten like a promotion, because they're scared of young people. They're scared of being accused or cancelled. It closes. So she ends up fired instead. So that's her jumping off point for the season. And then in the next episode, she like starts bleeding from the wrong hole, and has to go in for colonoscopy. But she leaves Samir as her proxy, and he's worried that she's going to lose all her insurance from her job. And the doctors want to perform a bunch of other tests, so he just gets them to do all the tests at once. So she ends up with three tubes.
Nice.
At once, which the nurse says is best that meet in the. It's best if they meet in the middle. And then you got Anton, who's like who's like a very charismatic person, and like his big thing is he needs to be friends with everybody, including at one stage in the 4th episode where he is unknowingly befriended a murderer, a stabber.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like we all at some stage in our lives will.
Yeah, we don't know.
Talk to
someone might have been a murderer, and we don't even realize. You know, but like he's got an obsessive need to make everybody kind of want to be his friend. So that's the basic premise of all like character defining things. You know, it's your basic sick, like, you know, adult sitcom, I guess.
Sounds so basic. Sounds very normal.
It is, but it's, you know, it's hard to explain these shows. It's completely in the delivery of it. You know what I mean? So, there is 8 episodes streaming now on Disney Plus. No, there's 4. I believe there's all the episodes out. It must be on FX that I'm looking at these release dates. They're releasing to a week, so I guess we get it all here early. I guess so.
That happened to Sweet Pea.
Yeah, but that was a British show.
Yeah, but we had the
BBC.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we have that same issue.
The same thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I would recommend checking it out. It's doing pretty well on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that. All right, Dylan, let's move into the stand-up section, because you watched a couple of Mike Birbiglia,
something like that,
stand-up specials. So you watched his earlier one, Thank God for Jokes.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a new one which I watched, and then I was like, I enjoyed that. I'll watch the old one. Well, no, hold on. I finished watching it. Netflix said, "You just finished that. Would you like to watch this other one?" And I said,
Sure.
I don't know if I've ever watched any of his stuff, to be completely honest. Well, I've never watched any of his stand-up stuff. I was looking at what else is like. He's been in movies I would have seen him in, but not enough that I remember seeing him in them. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. What was the first one I'm talking about?
The older one.
I'm going to be honest.
Thank God for Jokes.
I'm going to be honest, actually. Don't even ask me. They all
blur together.
Yep.
Just talk about the good life.
So he talks about this. There's like a very what do you call it? Like a conversational like life. Talks about his. And I noticed that throughout both of them very much, like talking about like what's happening in his life and with his marriage and his I can't remember his exact condition that he said he has to go to doctors about, but like make some jokes about that. I'll sleep
Sleep apnea.
No, not sleep apnea. He's got like a sleepwalking thing, like a hardcore sleepwalking thing, or something like that. Like yeah, so he like makes a lot of jokes out of that, which I found interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't say there was. It's a weird one to talk about because I enjoyed both, but they were like I wouldn't say there was any particular standout moments from either that I would want to like grab someone and be like, here, this is such a funny
Watch
bit or
this bit.
whatever. You sort of you'd have to watch the entire special to see a lot of the jokes play off. I couldn't say there was like a 5-minute segment where you'd be like, this is thing. But I enjoyed his candor. I enjoyed his general tone with the audience and interaction and stuff like that. There was one point where I can't remember what the bit was. Fuck, what was it? Oh no, he was like, has anyone had any crazy stories? Like talks about like getting pulled over by the cops and something. And he goes out to the audience. I think it was something like, "What's the wildest thing that's ever happened to you? Like, what's the wildest cop story you've ever had?" And he like goes to this one dude, and the first person he has a mic to is like, so one time I got arrested by a woman cop, and then the whole audience just start because it's like what a dumb, like ridiculous, like what's the wildest thing that's ever happened to you, a cop? Yeah, a woman cop arrested me, like something, and he just roasts this dude for it was very funny, but yeah, I mean, don't think about what you say at a comedy show before you like.
Wait, that was it? He did. It's like, for more context, more happened to the story. I just paused at the wrong time.
There was really no more context. He like passed it. He passed the mic back, like put some. He's like, "Is there anything more to this? Like, is there any like follow up to this?" I think he's like, "Oh, like it's just something." I think he's literally the dude's like, "It's just something my friends have made fun of for me for ages." He's like, "You're not making this better." Like it's just like, yeah. But I would recommend both. I'd happily watch more. Yeah,
happily rewatch. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, that's everything in our watch history. Let's move on to some film news. And the big Netflix live event, Tudum, took place over the weekend.
Tudum. I watched it. Have you watched the actual thing, or did you watch the trailers?
I just watched the trailers.
I watched the thing.
I didn't need to watch the bits.
I watched the whole show, and I'm telling you right now, because I was shocked. I too would have called it Tudum, because that's how it's spelled. But everyone, the host, everyone, make sure to say Tudum.
Tudum.
Yep, that's how you.
Okay, I apologize, Netflix.
Yep, you should be.
I probably said Tudum
every
single year that we've had this story. So to cover this year's Tudum, let's jump into this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
What's this week's top 3? Unsurprisingly, top 3 things we're excited for from Tudum 2025. Dylan, what's the number 3?
I lost my list, but I don't feel like I need it. Or maybe I do. Maybe I changed my list. Where the fuck did it go? It was on a notepad file here. Oh, here we go. Number 3, I've gone with Wednesday season 2. So they showed 5 minutes, I think it was roughly, of season 2. Was a cool bit. Basically has Wednesday working on her psychic powers and then deciding that she's going to go travel to, I think it was LA, and track down this serial killer that she's been reading about, I think in the newspapers or something like that. And the serial killer is played by Haley Joel Osment, whatever. And she arrives there and she gets captured straight away, and then like she's tied up in a room with all these other dolls and stuff. But there's a very funny interaction when she's passing through the the airport security, and like the buzzer alarm goes off, and she like passes out like 1, 2 things or whatever, and then the person they're like, no, you surely got more, gives that face, and then suddenly she's like pulling out all these things like a fucking samurai sword and like all these. It sort of seemed a bit more like in tone with what I'd say like the silly comedy that the Addams Family usually has, where it's like she's just pulling out all this shit left, right, and center. Then they pull out obviously a hand out of a bag which she's bringing along, and then they have no issue with that, but then they have an issue with the sunscreen that she's bringing on, because for some reason you're allowed to take, I don't know if that's an American joke about, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Wednesday. Also, the Lady Gaga performance they had after the show was quite good.
She's going to be the next season, right?
Yeah, so she's going to play a character in. So they announced that they're splitting the season. So Wednesday will be a part 1, part 2 drop, like a month apart, because that's apparently the cool thing to do now. And yeah, Lady Gaga is going to be playing character in the part 2 drop. But yeah, she played. She came out, had a whole thing. It was pretty cool. Like they had people dressed up as all the characters and whatever, and Jenna Ortega like was like sort of taking part, like sitting at a table while Lady Gaga performs, sort of around her, and yeah, that was cool.
Cool. My number 3, I'm going to go with Squid Game Season 3 trailer. Obviously, I got into Squid Game earlier this year when Season 2 dropped, or I guess Season 2 Part 1, I guess.
They've called it Season 3, so...
Yeah, I know, but people who've watched the show know it's Season 2 Part 1.
Okay.
Because it ends on, like...
cliffhanger, yeah.
Well, a point where you're like, it's halfway through what it was in Season 1. Yeah, I mean, getting a tease at kind of the other games that they're going to be playing, it looks like they're going to be jumping rope, and it's going to be fucking crazy. How many times are you going to have to jump rope or fall off? Brutal. So, getting kind of a tease at a lot of the events that'll happen, how this season's show is going to wrap up, I'm very keen. So, that's my number 3. Are you excited for Squid Game?
I would.
Are you going to binge?
Yeah, I feel like I obviously still need to watch the second, which I was thinking I should probably maybe try and do soon before this drops in July.
I will say Squid Game Season 3 drops June 27th.
Okay, maybe not then. We'll see.
Same time as a certain video games coming out. That may be taking up a lot of our time.
Okay, yeah, that is a problem. Hey, yeah, so we'll see. Maybe not.
Yeah.
My number 2 is the first little teaser trailer we got for Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out mystery. They did a weird bit in the actual Tudum show where they announced it, because they had Ryan Johnson come out and they kept doing, that music like dun dun dun, the reveal thing. It's like he comes out and he says, oh, like they each had like some joke, and it would cut to one of the actors somewhere, and they'd be like it kept like they were doing a bit about one upping each other, and like Mila Kunis is in the crowd and she's like, I'm so much better because I'm with the crowd. Like I'll say the Tudum audience, like raging, squealing, like just it's a crowd. Anyway,
rabid.
Yeah, it was something. They kept jumping around, and then like Carrie Washington had like a shirt gun thing that you shoot off, and it cut to Jeremy Renner, and then he had 2, but he was struggling. This obviously they were reading off cue card, like auto cue for their lines and stuff, teleprompter, and his songs, but he kept like fucking up because he kept laughing because people were like, "Oh my god!" Like it was just like, and you could tell he was just like struggling to like
keep together.
Yeah, keep it, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, I didn't get a lot from the trailer, to be completely honest. This is like, it just looks like it's set in a, I don't know, like it's got church element, and there's a priest, and what, like I don't really need to know too much.
Conclave 2.
Yeah, it's another knife. Yeah, maybe it's another Knives Out movie. It's another Benoit Blanc mystery. Who cares? I mean, that's
my number 2 is the debut of Tony Chop Chop.
Now,
Tony Chopper.
I don't know a lot about his character, but it's very cute. I'll say that.
It is adorable. I also know barely anything about this character. But wow, they did a solid job with the CGI. I expect a ton of toys to be sold based on this character. A bunch of hats. Yeah, totally delightful, very cute, very fun. Opening confirming One Piece is coming in 2026. Good, not too far. I guess not too far away.
They said on stage they just wrapped.
Did it come out 2024? The last season?
Yeah, it was last.
Last
year, 2024.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's a pretty good turnaround for a CGI kind of big budget ish show. Also coupled this with the teaser trailer. They kind of the Tudum trailer that the One Piece crew did earlier in the week. Tudum trailer, fucking hell. Where it's like a twist on like a filler episode where they're all going to have a slumber party in Nami's room. So,
so Michaela Hoover is doing the voice of the character, which I did a quick Google, and that's the same girl who's going to be playing Cat Grant's upcoming Superman movie. The girl who's taking all the selfies and photos and all that stuff in the Superman. But also, I didn't realize she was also the person who did the mocap and voice for Floor the Rabbit in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Ah,
There you go. So that's how James Gunn's got her, like, obviously met her doing that and then brought her across
yes.
to Superman. But yeah, anyway, that's the same person that's doing the Tony Chili Chopper.
Yeah. Cat Grant, Rabbit, very much same.
Very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. So, pretty keen for One Piece. Then what's the number one?
Number one is Frankenstein.
Number one is Frankenstein.
Is it?
What a teaser trailer.
Yeah. Very, very good. Like I think that all right, if you told me Guillermo del Toro is doing Frankenstein, which like when he announced that, it's like that's his.
This makes sense.
This makes sense. It's his dream project. Monster movies are his thing. Like for you look at his career, the amount of interviews I've seen with this guy talking about how he loves monster stories and all this stuff, and it's you can tell anytime he talks about Frankenstein, it's this is the OG. This is him getting a chance to play in the realm that sort of ignited his love, I think, for the genre somewhat. And I think the imagery and just the way this looks is not how I would have pictured it, but it's also 100% looks like a Del Toro film. Obviously, don't get to see a lot of Jacob Elordi as the monster itself. However, that end shot at the end of the trailer where he like comes for Victor was very cool. Get a couple of shots of Mia Goth, who I'm excited to see as well. Yeah, they obviously on stage at the Tudum event they had Oscar Isaac, Guillermo del Toro, and Mia Goth. They all seemed he was all three was speaking quite passionately about the project and how it's been good to do and stuff. So yeah, this is obviously it's also a genre and whatever that ticks a lot of boxes for me as well for stuff I'm interested in and actors and stuff. So yeah, super excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the film that Guillermo del Toro was meant to make, I guess. And like, we've had multiple iterations of the story. There was the terrible one with Darren Eckhart and Daniel Radcliffe, and a bunch of other ones. Frankenstein is such a known being in our history, but I don't think I've seen any of them with like kind of this take. And like we see the full like birth of Frankenstein's monster. And yeah, I completely forgot that Jacob Elordi was in this movie, and I guess is Frankenstein. Well, the monster.
The monster, yeah.
Which would be terrifying, seeing as he's so tall. Yeah. Yeah. So that's our top threes. We'll just touch on a couple of other things that popped up during this event. Other big news. I mean, the other big trailer that was released, Happy Gilmore 2. Which
so much MGF in that trailer. There was so much. Yeah. Like I was watching the trailer and I'd be like, MJF, fucking everyone.
It seems like anybody related to sport is showing up in this trailer. Yeah. There's like an abundance of cameos, of people. I don't know how it could possibly come together, be a worthy follow up to Happy Gilmore.
No, it's my thing.
It just seems to have so many pieces.
I think I'm going to have to rewatch Happy Gilmore, and it's sort of one of the things I'm like, do I want to? Because I haven't watched it for so long, and it lives in my memories as something I enjoyed watching so much as a teenager. But I'm like, and now am I going to watch it and be like, what a dumb movie? Like it was but I almost feel like I have to because you can tell this is a movie where they're going to do so many callbacks.
So heavily tied in.
And,
or like joke callbacks. It seems like there's going to be a lot
of that, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and like seeing all the bunch of characters coming back. Bad Bunny, just a random waiter. His golf caddy. I think it was quite amusing. Yeah, it looks like one of his daughters is playing his daughter again. So.
His family always are in his movies now, which I'm fine with. But it's like you can spot like his daughters, his wife, like which isn't shocking from it. Like he's like, I'm going to put my best friend Rob Schneider in all my movies. So
when you continue to put all your friends in your movies,
of course he's going to put in his fucking.
It's like I don't have time for friends anymore, so it's just family. So the sequel's coming to Netflix on the 25th of July. I guess the other big piece of news that dropped was the release date for Stranger Things season 5. They showed a small teaser trailer, but really it was like a kind of like a recap.
It wasn't a lot. There was a tiny bit of new footage, but
But we are going to get 4 episodes on the 26th of November, 3 on Christmas Day, and then the finale will drop on New Year's Eve, which is good for us, people who do podcasts.
Great, love that. Yep.
And we'll want to break it down.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be 3 volumes, I guess, is what they're calling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you're happy about this development.
I am very much on the side of they killed Stranger Things by how long it took them to get this out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The momentum around the show
is dead. I think.
Um,
Neither of us even included this in our top 3. More people are talking about Wednesday coming out of this than anything else I've seen on social media. So, the Stranger Things is just not as popular as it was.
I think it is just as popular, but the interest in it is not as high. I feel like people are going to watch it mostly out of obligation.
Yeah. I shoot the numbers will still we're also going to watch it and everything, but the excitement and the lead up, I don't think
the hype is not there.
The hype is not there.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean the length of time that it's taken is definitely the key reason behind that. It's crazy that Millie Bobby Brown has done 6 movies between the last season and this coming out. So, but yeah, I mean by the end of the year it'll be done. This clock will strike 12, and the Upside Down will be victorious or defeated. You would assume. Any other fun tidbits from the Tudum event?
I
didn't get to see.
They had a trailer for the Rip that they decided not to put online, and you can only watch it in the full event. So this is this is a Ben Affleck and Matt Damon film co-starring.
I saw them talking to the Cookie Monster.
Yeah, no, they showed a full trailer. You just have to, you'd have to skip through the event to find it. So if you want to watch it, but it's basically Stephen Yeun and can't remember the other 2 people who are in it. But anyway, they're a bunch of cops. They show up at a drug house, or no, they're I think they assume it's drug house. They find all this millions of dollars of cash or whatever, and then it seems to play out over that night as they potentially are looking to take the money for themselves, and then all these drug cartels and cops and all these other people get involved and whatnot. It looks like here's the thing. It looks like a above average Netflix action film, which I'd say that usually Netflix action films trash. This one looks like it might be at least a bit better. And I mean, there is that part of me that just sort of wants to watch Matt Damon and Ben Affleck on the screen together, because it's always fun to see the boys together,
See the boys back together.
Yeah. So, but that was a weird one that they for whatever reason were we're just gonna keep the trailer in part of the. And it wasn't even a short trailer. It was a 2-minute teaser trailer. So, yeah,
that's all.
There you go. But other than that, no, there was just a lot of interludes between stuff where they was talking about, no trailers or stuff, but they'll talk to the cast of all these other shows I don't care about, a lot of the reality ones and stuff like that. And they had weird things where it's a bunch of WWE superstars got up there to introduce the One Piece stuff, and there was a lot of things there.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's everything in news this week. Let's move into giving some thumbs to trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kicking things off, we've got The Home, directed by James Monaco, starring Pete Davidson, John Glover, and Bruce Altman. Max, a troubled man, starts working at a retirement home and realizes its residents and caretakers harbor sinister secrets. As he investigates the building and its forbidden 4th floor, he starts to uncover connections to his own past and upbringing as a foster child. Dylan, what did you think of this very unfunny performance from Pete Davidson?
Isn't it weird how many Pete Davidson does some interesting stuff, I'll say. Yeah, I'm going to go double thumbs up. I'm intrigued. I think the whole trailer could have finished about 20, 30 seconds earlier and saved some of the stuff at the end of it, potentially. That helped. But I mean, I'm still I don't know what the hell's going on other than old people are crazy. Yeah. So double thumbs up.
I'll give it 1 point down. I mean, it looks fine. It looks spooky and scary, but the needle at the eye thing at the end, no.
So you're writing it down for your own because you don't like needles.
Personal
taste.
taste.
Yeah.
No, I just don't think anybody should watch anything like that.
They did that.
It's
in
in poor
They
taste
did
too.
that in Dead
People-
Space too.
Yeah. You don't need to put that in a trailer. They should save that from the film.
That's what I'm saying. I
You know?
agree.
You know? Show too much. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I agree.
You know, it's not a fear thing. It's
They ruin the reveal.
It spoils too much.
You want to
in
see that
Australia.
moment when you're in the cinema yourself watching it.
But yes, let's be honest, Dylan. Old people scary.
It's true. Yeah.
They're too close to death. They
Mm.
might bring us with them.
Mm.
So yeah. The Home is coming to cinemas on the 25th of July. Next trailer is a new trailer for Elio. Of course, it's directed by Marilyn Sharafina, or Sharafin, Domi Shi, and Adrian Molina, starring Jonas Kibrib, Zoe Zaldana, Remy Edgley, Jamila Jamil, Brad Garrett, Shirley Henderson, Matthias Schweighöfer, and Brandon Moon. Elio is a space fanatic with an active imagination and a huge alien obsession, so when he's beamed up to the Communiverse, an interplanetary organization with representatives from the galaxies far and wide, Elio is all in on the epic undertaking. Mistakenly identified as Earth's leader, Elio must form bonds with eccentric alien life forms, navigate a crisis of intergalactic proportions, and somehow discover who and where he is truly meant to be. Dylan, what do you think of this latest trailer for Elio?
I feel like we've talked about this film so much. Like, how many trailers
Yes.
do you reckon we've watched for Elio?
I think this is the third one.
Okay.
Because we saw the original one,
Mm-hmm.
then we saw the first one they released after the director change, and now this final one before the movie comes out.
Yeah. I'm going to go double thumbs up with an asterisk of I'm sort of sick of seeing trailers for it, and I just want the movie out. That's how I feel. I don't feel like this trailer is too much different than the rest, but I also think it's like, I'm judging it as a, just as a trailer. I'm double thumbs up. Looks fun. Still keen to watch the movie. Just sick of watching trailers for it at this point.
Okay.
I just feel
I
like
get the
I've been
message.
watching trailers for this movie for a long time.
I think it was announced like 2 years ago, so
Yeah, just a long time coming.
also I'm suspecting it showed up in front of a bunch. You see
Probably
Elio
has
trailers in
too.
front of other
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So I
just feel like I've
Those new stuff
seen
is-
teasers and trailers for this fucking movie for years of my life at this point.
Dylan, you need to go support it because we need original animated
It's
films.
fine, I'll go support it, but Jesus, just
I know you're a big Pixar hater, but
it's true. It's true.
yeah, 2 thumbs up from me. I think it looks really, really great. I think this one is very much more clear what the tone is. I think this time, I think they worked the being mistaken first leader into this one, which they didn't have last time, so it was kind of jarring, like the jump from the original vision of the film to this. Yeah, I enjoy his, shenanigans with his alien friend and that kind of stuff. It looks like it'd be a really, really fun time with heart and all the kind of stuff we expect from Pixar. Very optimistic on this. So this one is coming out on the 19th of June, just a couple of weeks away. Next trailer is for Stealing Pulp Fiction, directed by Danny Turkowicz, starring John Radinsky, Cassie Davis, Karan Soni, Taylor Hill, Oliver Cooper, and Jason Alexander. 3 aspiring Hollywood friends plot to steal Quentin Tarantino's personal 35mm print of Pulp Fiction from his movie theater. The friends team up with their therapist to carry out the heist. Tell them what you think of the trailer for Stealing Pulp Fiction.
I'm going double thumbs down. Doesn't do a lot for me. Sounds like a fun idea. It sounds like a funny joke that somehow turned into a feature-length movie.
I'll give one down. I like the concept. I don't know 100% about the execution, and I have not watched Pulp Fiction enough to pick up every single reference that's clearly in here to the film. I get it. They're in a booth. They're drinking drinks. They've got a case that's
I
glowing.
don't think you've missed anything. That's all. You've nailed it.
all the analysis.
Yep, you've done it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting concept, and I'm glad they got it made. I wonder if Tarantino is going to show up in the movie. Unlikely.
No, I highly.
But how they
highly
work that
doubt
in. Stealing Pulp Fiction is coming to video on demand and select theaters on the 27th of June in the US. No confirmed Australian release date. Next trailer is for Smoke, Created by Dennis Lehane, starring Taron Egerton, Joni Smollett, John Leguizamo, Rafe Spall, Greg Kinnear, Natwati Moine, and Hannah Emily Anderson. A detective and an arson investigator work together to stop 2 serial arsonists in the Pacific Northwest. Tell them, what do you think of the trailer for Smoke?
Going one up, one down. Unless there's a complete bait and switch, I felt like this trailer overstayed its welcome and sort of teased / revealed a little bit too much. But unless it's a complete red herring, but I personally don't think it is.
You didn't like that they explicitly implied that one of the arsonists is Taron Egerton?
Yeah, crazy ideas that is. But otherwise, I'm intrigued. I mean, look, I can't say I've watched detective investigation thing from the point of view of like the strictly arson crimes. I think Taron Egerton's fine. I quite enjoyed Joni Smollett, so I'd be watching it more so for her. So, yeah, I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. I think it looks really good. Obviously, I like Taron Egerton. Jimmy Smollett looks really good. I don't mind that they gave away that it seems like he's the bad guy. Like, obviously, that'll add tension throughout the series, I would assume. I don't know how obviously, it's a miniseries, 9 episodes. So maybe they could have saved it till like halfway for reveal, but that's their creative choice.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about fire, right?
Something that are you a fucking arsonist?
Like visually,
there's something about fire.
To look at, but it's also scary as fuck.
There's something about fire. How many matches you got in your room right
something
now?
about fire, man. And it's not that fake fire; it's that real fire.
Yeah, that real fire. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some of the visuals in this is pretty cool. Like them driving through an actual forest fire and all that kind of stuff. So, I wonder if this was delayed to, could be out earlier in the year.
Well,
all the fires in LA.
It's fucking always fire somewhere, isn't there? So
that is true. Always someone send fires to stuff.
Mm-hmm. You is what I'm figuring out.
No. Don't be silly. Smoke is coming to Apple TV Plus on the 27th of June with a 2-episode premiere, according to Wikipedia.
Sounds about right for Apple.
Mm-hmm. Last trailer for this week, Black Phone 2. Directed by Scott Derrickson, starring Ethan Hawke, Mason Thames, Madeline McGraw, Miguel Mora, Jeremy Davies, and Demian Bicha, and Ariana Rivas. As Finn, now 17, struggles with his life after his captivity, the headstrong 15-year-old Gwen begins receiving calls in her dreams from the Black Phone and seeing disturbing visions of 3 boys being stalked at a winter camp known as Alpine Lake. Determined to solve the mystery and end the torment for both her and her brother, Gwen persuades Finn to visit the camp during a winter storm. There she uncovers a shattering intersection between the grabber and her own family's history. Together, she and Finn must confront a killer who has grown more powerful in death and more significant to them than they ever could imagine. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for Black Phone 2? Drop the.
Drop the.
Oh, wasn't the first one called The Black Phone?
I don't know. Was it? I thought it was just Black Phone. What is it? No, it was called The Black Phone. You're correct. Yeah, it was called The Black Phone. It's a Black Phone 2. Yeah, look. This is one of those projects when you announce, you're like, "What the fuck was that movie in the trailer?" And but then and sort of be like, "All right, well, surely they wouldn't do it unless they got a good story or something interesting to tell here." And yeah, double thumbs up. I'm very intrigued by when they start talking about it in interviews. They start talking about like having more of a supernatural, playing more into the supernatural element, because of course the first one had a supernatural element. Yeah, I'm just. I like the way it's playing super hardcore into that and basically making the grabber, Ethan Hawke's character, a new Freddy Krueger. Yeah. So, I like the visuals too, the snow and everything like that. It doesn't. I think that's really cool to have we spent so much of the first film in this locked up in this basement that changing the setting and everything now to differentiate it will be cool. And then I think also having him be this entity now instead of an actual real person will allow them to do scarier and visually more interesting things with the whole masks and stuff like that. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have to give this 2 thumbs up. Like visually, really interesting. The use of music, really interesting. Like some of the kills that appear to be happening inside the trailer, or like attacks, very creepy. Like him attacking whoever's in the phone booth, and like spinning around, spraying blood everywhere. That's terrifying. And just the sinisterness of the phone, which is so probably outdated for a lot of people. Like, who has a phone anymore? Who has a ringtone like that? That used to be standard. Now nobody hears that sound except in this scary movie. So, yeah, I mean, looks good. Not doing anything and will not do anything. Who's this through? We'll see.
What are you talking about?
I was seeing who's distributed it.
Universal.
Yeah, we'll see. Might watch it. I don't know.
You watch the first one?
No, I haven't. So
I feel like you could watch it.
I feel like you said that last time.
Yeah, I feel like I'm honest to you usually if about what horror movies I feel like you can watch, and you can watch Black Phone.
Yeah, and just the grabber iconography of the face, the mask, and then seeing it kind of ripped off partially.
Yeah, there's some more like horror-y stuff in the trailer than like the first movie was more just a tense thriller about like a kid that's kidnapped, so
yeah, and being helped by dead kids.
Yeah, which and there's some jump scary sort of stuff, but I mean, you could definitely watch it.
Yeah, I do love the line. Death is only.
The girl was the standout, which I was just looking then. I was looking her up then, Madeline McGraw. She hasn't really done anything since. Like she's done stuff, but like nothing of like standout or substance or anything. But she was the best part of the film. I mean, if you watch it, you'll find out why. So, because she's a fucking take no nonsense motherfucker, is what she is.
Absolutely. All right. Date. That's what usually ends here.
Halloween, baby. Well, not close, but yeah.
Black Phone 2 comes out 16th of October. Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
This week, I want to watch Karate Kid Legends.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to watch that maybe you had booked a ticket for already?
Okay, well, I've fuck you. I have. You're so funny. I have also booked a ticket for the From the World of John Wick Ballerina, which I believe is the official title.
I believe so too.
Which is dumb, but here we are. That's fine.
That is the world we live in.
Yeah.
And initial reviews reactions have been promising.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I don't think there's anything on TV front, but yeah, I got those two films. I was nearly going to watch
The Ritual.
Wasn't sure.
Apparently that's out this week as well.
No, well, not from me, but so yeah, I would, but I didn't see it anywhere on my list. What the fuck was I about to say? We'll say I will be seeing. So I'm seeing Karate Kid Wednesday. Could have watched Ballerina Thursday. Taking that day off for the old Switch too, so I'll be seeing Ballerina Friday.
Yeah,
that's how that's all booking out.
Yeah.
The week after though. Materialists, which, based on past lives, we could be getting a movie of the year top 10 nominee on our hands. You know what I mean?
It could be.
But
yes, this week, those two films. Also, Predator, Killer of Killers, is coming to Disney Plus on Friday.
There's no TV
film.
shows, is there? There's out this week that.
On the TV front,
okay,
coming to Apple TV Plus is Stick, the Owen Wilson golf comedy, which looks really good.
You said it, and again, my mind just went to fucking the Kung Fu Stick character from Daredevil?
From Daredevil?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so a lot of stuff coming out this week. Let us know what you're excited to watch this week by letting us know on Blue Sky at explosionnetwork.com or on other social media at ExplosionPod. If you want to help us out here, what do you want to watch? Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars and you can leave 5 stars, or just help people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.